Hey friends. So I've had a great 24 hours, and something showed up. It's funny because this is something that showed up yesterday, and then it was affirmed again yesterday, and then it was affirmed again today in a conversation with a dear friend and thought partner, and so where this started, I'm going to kind of give you my way in, and then I'll kind of describe what the insight is I think that's showing up. So I've been practicing a piece, the Chopin Opus 25 Etude number 1. It's a piece I've played before. I've never performed it, but I have practiced it, and I've had it pretty stably under my fingers in the past. And I was brushing it off again yesterday in anticipation of the first day of piano teacher training on the Chopin Etudes, which happens this Thursday. We've done 6 weeks of Mozart. Now we're going to do 6 weeks of Chopin Etudes. So I was looking at this piece, and it's a beautiful piece. It's called the Aeolian Harp, and it sounds like a harp. It's obviously named for the kind of sound texture that's being created. You're playing these arpeggios in the middle of the keyboard with both hands, kind of contrary motion arpeggios, with melody notes up here on the right hand, bass notes down here in the left hand. And there's a lot of leaping from either one hand or both hands at the same time to these outer notes that constitute the kind of outer pillars of the music, and then the harmonic resonance in the middle. And I noticed as I was playing it, one of the challenges is getting up to those notes, or getting down to those notes, as the case may be, and then coming smoothly back into the middle, where the kind of this billow of harp-like harmonic sound is coming from, and doing all that smoothly. So I'm playing, and I had noticed that when I treat these either melody notes in the right hand or bass notes in the left hand, when I treat them as destinations or as goals, in other words, as notes that I'm reaching up or reaching down to hit, they're very hard to play. It's difficult to be playing this harmonic, because it's a fair number. It's like, I think it's 6 groups of 6. So in other words, like triplets or a sextuplet, 30-second notes throughout. So it's not a lot of time to get up and down, and this inner part is constantly changing as well. So the task of getting these notes played and then getting back into the middle is really kind of, that's the central challenge. It's an etude for that. So my observation was, when I'm going for the note as a destination out there, it's very hard to play. But then I thought, well, what if I change my thinking about this? Forget without even looking at technique or looking at what at anything other than my perspective on what I'm doing. What if I instead begin treating these melody notes in the right hand, bass notes in the left hand, as jumping off points to spring back towards the center, to spring back onto the harmony. So now, in other words, instead of thinking about reaching out to play them, I'm thinking about springing from them back into the center. Well, it changed everything. All of a sudden, it's not that I have any more time, or that anything has really changed about getting to the note, but I'm just telling myself, I'm not getting to the note, I'm starting from that note. And that shift in thinking from, oh my God, here comes a big leap, I have to leap all the way up to this note, here I go, there I go, and my thought process is all about, I hope I can get there. Instead, my thought process shifts. I'm leaping from this note. This is my starting point. My hand is going to get there. My hand is starting from this place, and it's leaping back to the center. Everything changed. The piece became wildly more playable. And there was a brief period where I just gave myself as much time as I need to get out to the note. So I didn't try to rush my journey to the starting point. I just let my hand take as much time as it needed. Well, before too long, that shift in thinking had changed things so much that I didn't even need extra time to get down there. I was just there. I found myself on those notes without even needing a big kind of like, here I go, leap to get there. So, in other words, the kind of like summary reframe there was, these target notes are not goals. They're not destinations. They're starting points. Well, then I got on a call with my Tony Robbins coach, and somewhere in the middle of all this, I said something about the work I'm doing and where I'm headed and blah, 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 whatever I'm up to, various ideas I have about what some programs I want to launch, and et cetera, et cetera. And she goes, Robin, you need to remember, goals are not destinations. They're starting points. And I was like, okay, I get it. Thank you, universe. I get the message. I hear you loud and clear. So I recognized that what I was experiencing on piano, because I'd already kind of made that connection, but I recognized that what I was experiencing on piano was a life lesson, was not something that's isolated to piano. It's something, as with so much of my creative experience and musical experience, and specifically piano experience, it's a life lesson. These principles that we discover on the keyboard and that we live on the keyboard and in our music are universal principles. We're taught, we can decode the cosmic structure through creative work. Creative work will lead us to the insights that unlock the mysteries of the universe. They unlock how consciousness works, in the case of something like this, it's not esoteric. It's very concrete. It's a very kind of like, literally black and white shift in how I'm conceiving of something. It's the same physical, I suppose it's probably not the same physical action, but it's a very similar physical action, and it's the same, as far as the music is concerned, it's the same. I haven't changed anything about the music. What I've changed is, how do I envision these notes being played? How do I envision what's happening here? And it's a very kind of like concrete and direct assessment of the effectiveness of my thinking. Life is a little more complicated than that, and life is not more complicated than that. Life is exactly the same. If I can recognize that my goals are not destinations, I will never get to my goals. What I might do is integrate the life that I want to live into my being and live it now. And then I will probably hit mile markers. Then those goals become an outgrowth of where I'm coming from. My targets in my business or whatever are not things I'm reaching for and hoping to maybe get to one day. They just become the things that are part of living the life that I've already chosen to live and that I've already anchored into. So changing the notion of our goals from being destinations we're trying to reach into being where we are sitting right now, and from which our goals are the platform from which we enter the world. They are our starting points. Major, 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 major reframe. So that's what showed up yesterday and today, and came through loud and clear again in a conversation this morning with a dear friend. So that's what I got today, folks. So much love. I appreciate you. I'm so grateful for this conversation, for your presence, and for your connection. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow.